If you don't exist, who is reading these words? That question can make your mind stop, shake for a few seconds, because at its deepest level, it touches the root of every perception you've ever believed to be real. From birth, we're taught to believe that we're a separate individual with a name, a shape, a history, dreams, and memories. We're encouraged to pursue meaning, success, love, and happiness as if all of these things will make us who we are. But in the light of ultimate truth, all of these things are just a dream projected in the mind. The enlightened master Nisargadatta Maharaj once said, "You think you are the body, but the body is only a product of the mind. You think you are the mind, but the mind is only a movement in awareness. Find out who is the one who knows, you will find there is no you. It is a teaching that has shaken the modern world. For people are not afraid of darkness, not afraid of death, but are most afraid of losing themselves, losing the person they thought was real. The truth that Maharaj spoke was not to frighten us, but to awaken us from the long dream of false identification. He did not come to add new beliefs, but to destroy all beliefs, to show you what can never be lost. The root of illusion, ego, mind, and consciousness. When you open your eyes, the world appears. When you close your eyes and fall into a deep sleep, the world disappears. That shows that the world you see, the person you believe you are, exists only in a state of awareness. The mind is the invisible painter, painting the whole picture of life. It gives you the feeling, I am this body, I am thinking, I am feeling, I am living. But who is observing all that? Look closely. If you are the body, where is the body when you are in deep dreamless sleep? If you are the mind, where is the mind when you fall into a state of complete silence where no thoughts exist? What you really are is still there, not disappearing when the body sleeps, not being born when thoughts arise. It is pure awareness, nameless, formless, without beginning and without end. From Advaita Vedanta philosophy, we know that Brahman is the only reality without a second. Everything else is Maya, illusion. And it is this Maya that makes us believe in a small I, separate from the universe, living a story of its own. That I is born from memory, from language, from the story told to us by our parents, society, and history. It is the result of identification with the body, emotions, past, and name. Maharaj once said, "You think you are the one having the experience. But look deeper, you yourself are just a part of that experience. The I is not the controller of life. It is just a thought in life. Like a ripple that thinks it is separate from the ocean, when in fact it is the ocean in the form of a ripple. The world, the self, time, and space, all are just manifestations in consciousness. Nothing is real in itself. Nothing exists independently. When consciousness withdraws, as when you fall asleep or die, the universe disappears, you disappears, and only the constant knowing remains. The truth of non-existence." Nisargadatta Maharaj said, "You think you will die, but the unreal cannot die, and the real cannot die. The real is never born, never disappears. It simply is." This statement seems paradoxical, but it is the core of mindfulness. When Maharaj said nothing truly exists, he was not denying the material world, but simply pointing out that its existence has no independence, no separate entity. Everything you see, your body, your loved ones, the stars, is a wave in the ocean of consciousness. Waves may be born and die, but the water is never lost. Your being is that water, not the ripple called I. The mind, hearing this, will immediately react. Impossible! I am living, I am thinking, I am feeling. How can I not exist? But stop and look deeply into your own experience of life. Can you prove your existence apart from the feeling I am? You only know that you are, but who? What? No one can answer. When you say I exist, it is just a thought that appears in awareness. And when the thought disappears, as in deep sleep, the notion I exist also disappears. But the knowing, the ground that witnesses this arising and passing away, is still there, motionless, silent. The world that you see is also just an image of the mind. Like the moon reflected in the lake, the moon is real, but the image in the lake has no entity of its own. The world is a reflection of consciousness, and you are a reflection of that world. Maharaj once said in I Am That. What you think is the world is nothing but a reflection of your mind. When the mind is still, the world disappears. Look at all your experiences. Joy, sadness, fear, hope, they all come and go. Nothing is permanent. Even the feeling of I changes every day. The I at 10 years old is different from the I at 30 years old, and completely different from the I who is reading these lines. If everything changes, then what is the one that does not change? If you also changes, then where is the real you? Maharaj replied, the knowledge of change never changes. That is your true self. It is not the seeker who seeks the truth, but the truth itself. We live like characters in a dream, trying to understand the dream without ever waking up. The mind seeks truth through thought, while thought itself is the mist that covers it. You cannot use the mind to understand what is beyond the mind. And this is the beautiful paradox that all the ancient Indian masters say. As long as you think there is a you who is seeking, you have not found. Only when the seeker disappears, only when the mind drops the notion of self, does the truth reveal itself, not as an idea, but as a full silence. You see, the truth nothing really exists, not even you is not a denial of life, but a return to life its own truth. It frees you from the burden of having to be someone, of having to understand everything, of having to control the world. When there is no you, no me, no they, there is only pure life manifesting in every form, every breath, every moment. And it is then that you truly live, not as an individual, but as infinite consciousness playing the game of being. What does the mind fear? The mind fears only one thing, losing itself. It does not fear poverty, it does not fear loneliness, it does not fear death. All these fears are just outer shells of the core fear, the fear of disappearance. The mind is a storyteller. It needs a story to survive. I was born, I grew up, I suffered, I sought happiness, I became enlightened. But when the truth is revealed, that there is no me, the whole story collapses. Maharaj once said, the death of the body does not frighten you. What frightens you is the realization that you have never lived as a separate individual. The mind fears silence, because in silence it cannot exist. It is movement, it is wave, it is echo. The silence of knowing is the mirror in which all echoes disappear, and that is what the mind cannot bear. Notice, whenever you sit still, just observing the breath, the mind rushes in with 100 thoughts. It cannot bear the void, because that void is its tomb, and at the same time the door that opens to the real you. The story of the fire that fears extinction. Imagine a fire burning in the night. It looks around and sees endless darkness. It begins to fear. Someday I will go out. I will disappear. I will no longer exist. But it does not know that the very darkness it fears is where it was born. When the fire goes out, the light disappears, but its nature, heat and energy, returns to the whole. Likewise, what you call I is just a temporary flame in the invisible ocean of consciousness. It is not really born, nor is it really dead. Only the form changes, while the essence remains one. The mind cannot understand the knowing. The mind tries to understand this. But the irony is, what it is trying to understand is not real. You cannot use illusion to understand reality. You cannot use dreams to understand the dreamer. The knowing cannot be perceived as an object because it is the basis of all perception. Just as the eye cannot see itself, but everything else can only be seen through it. That is why Maharaj says, do not try to understand. Just look at who is trying to understand. Every time you turn back to the observer, the mind retreats. And gradually, the observer itself dissolves. Only pure awareness remains, no subject, no object. That is freedom. Knowing your true nature. There is something that never changes, is unborn, undying, untouched by time. That is the knowing that I am. Before you know who you are, before you say I am a man, I am a woman, I am this or that, there is a simple, pure, primal feeling, I am. Go back to that feeling. Add nothing. No labels, no descriptions. Just I am. Maharaj calls this the first step of enlightenment. He says, keep the mind in the feeling of I am. Do not cling to any form. When I am dissolves, what remains is the real you. I am the door to the infinite. Imagine the sun shining. That light is I am. It illuminates the world, makes everything known. But the sun is not limited by what it illuminates. Similarly, the feeling I am illuminates all experience, body, emotions, the world. But I am does not belong to any of it. When you stop and just know that you are knowing, you begin to feel the taste of eternity. Not a concept, but a living presence, coming from nowhere, going nowhere. The knowing cannot be hurt. In life, you have experienced so much pain, loss, betrayal, loneliness, disappointment. But if you observe closely, there is one thing that has never been hurt, the knowing that witnesses it all. When you cry, the knowing is there. When you laugh, it is there. When you suffer, it does not suffer. When you are happy, it does not rejoice. It is not indifferent, but absolutely tolerant, like the sky that holds all the clouds. That knowing has no age, no gender, no form. It is you before any thought of you. Silence, the foundation of all life. Try to stop all searching, just listen to the sounds around you. In the silence between two sounds, can you feel it? That silence is not absence, it is the foundation where all sounds are born. Likewise, in the space between two thoughts, knowing is revealed. It has never left you, you just ran after the thoughts of I and forgot it. The journey of dissolution, the practice of awakening. When you understand with your mind that nothing really exists, that is not freedom. Only when you see directly, in your own life experience, the illusion dissolves, then liberation begins. 1. Observe without judgment. Maharaj teaches, just observe. Don't interfere, don't react. When you just look, without naming, the mind loses its power. When you look at a flower without naming it, without thinking beautiful or ugly, just seeing, you return to the original state of awareness. The world becomes transparent. You are no longer an outsider observing, but the knowing itself illuminating everything. In daily life, you can practice this. When anger comes, just see it. When sadness comes, just see it. Don't try to push it away. Don't try to understand it. Just observe like the sky watching the clouds pass by. Gradually, you realize there is no watcher. There is only pure observation. 2. Return to the feeling of I am. Sit still, without forcing, just feel I am. Nothing else is needed. Don't think about the body, about the past, about social roles. Just feel the pure presence of I am. Maharaj says, the feeling of I am is the seed of the universe. Hold it, nurture it in silence. One day, that very seed will explode and you will realize there was no you. When you practice like that, you will see the miracle. The feeling of I am begins as a personal spark, gradually expands infinitely, merging with everything. The meditator disappears, leaving only the boundless knowing. 3. Observe the dissolution of the ego. In this process, the mind will resist. It will try to come back and tell stories. I am getting better at meditation. I am getting closer to enlightenment. Laugh at it. That is the last illusion, the illusion of enlightened one. Maharaj emphasizes, there is no enlightened one, only enlightenment. When you see this, you do not need to achieve anything. All searching ends. The seeker disappears, only the light that knows itself as light remains. 4. Live in the world and still be free. Enlightenment does not mean leaving the world. Maharaj lived in Mumbai, selling cigarettes, supporting his family amidst the noise and dust. He did not retreat into a cave, but in the market of life, he remained a man who did not belong anywhere. He once said, you don't have to leave the world. Leave the idea that you are in the world. You still work, love, laugh, but inside, you know that it is all just consciousness revealing itself. No one is lost, no one is trying to find. 5. When the observer disappears one day, when you are truly still, you will realize this. The observing is no longer separate from the observed. You look at the flower, and suddenly, there are no two. The flower is not outside you. The knowing of the flower is not inside you. All become one infinite awareness. That is the moment when the self disappears, and there is only life knowing itself. No one is looking, no one is seeing, there is only seeing. 6. The dissolution in truth at this point, you are no longer doing. You just live, like the breath of the universe. Every gesture, every look, every word flows naturally without any other. Maharaj said, when I disappears, only the truth remains. And that truth does not need to be recognized by anyone. True freedom is when you do not need to be understood, do not need to prove, do not need to become. You have returned home where no one returns.